Hey, what's up guys, and welcome back to another League of Legends guide video. In today's guide, we're going to be going over TAHM KENCH. Yes guys, today I'm going to show you guys how to unbench the Kench. So to start off, let's just say TAHM KENCH is basically a person that you would play in the jungle and support, but most people don't play him in jungle. It's most likely support because all of his abilities are basically stuff that are good for support and stuff. Like, he has good amounts of CC, he's always good at saving people, and he's always good for map transportation, and we'll get towards his abilities and stuff. So the main thing you guys gotta know is most people play him on the support and the jungle. I mean, sometimes people do play him on top as a tank, but it's not really recommended. It depends who's going against you, because TAHM KENCH does have a lot of counters. And a really good thing about TAHM KENCH is he does a lot of damage early game, because his abilities are super insane, especially for leashes. He's one of the best for leashing, and that's what makes TAHM KENCH pretty OP. I mean, for the early game at least. But late game, he's super duper tanky. Like, there's nothing stopping him almost. As long as you're building him correctly, or as long as you're building him the tankiest way possible, then you guys will probably not ever die with TAHM KENCH in your hands. So now we're going to be covering over the abilities of TAHM KENCH. Now firstly, like always, we're going to start off with the passive, which is an acquired taste, which is TAHM KENCH's passive. TAHM KENCH puts the heft of his immense body behind his attacks and abilities, gaining extra damage based on his total health. Damaging enemy champions build stacks of an acquired taste. At 3 stacks, he can devour an enemy champion. Now this ability does link in with the W ability itself, but also it does link in with a few other abilities as well, because stacking up the amount of times you hit someone, it does alter 2 of your abilities to do something special. So we're gonna go over the abilities, which we're gonna start over with Q. TAHM KENCH's Q ability is Tongue Lash. TAHM KENCH lashes out with his tongue, damaging and slowing the first unit hit. This ability gains a stun after 3 stacks of an acquired taste. Like I said guys, that is part of your passive, and that's basically what's gonna let you stun a person. So once you have 3 hits stacked, as soon as the fish image above the enemy that you have auto attack 3 times has gone red, then you guys can use your Q to stun them, which will stun them in place. Champions with 3 stacks of an acquired taste will additionally be stunned for 1.5 seconds. Activate Devour while your tongue is in mid-air to devour monsters' minions from a distance. So this links in with the W ability, so I'll go over that as well. So TAHM KENCH's next ability is Devour. Now there's a lot of information on this, so I'm gonna summarize as much as I can, maybe read a bit off it, and you guys can check on the bottom right what this ability does, because it's a pretty damn awesome ability. Now TAHM KENCH devours a target, dealing a percentage of their maximum health as magic damage. He can spit devour minions and monsters out as a skill shot that deals magic damage in an area upon impact. So basically what the information was saying before was, when you press Q, which lashes out your tongue, and if you quickly press W, what that will do is that will grab something and put it straight into your mouth. That's only minions and monsters, something like that. Not huge monsters. Red buff and blue buff will not get affected, so that's not really gonna do anything. But what this ability is basically once you hit your enemy 3 times with these stacks, like I was telling you as a passive, then as soon as the fish goes kind of red colored, then you can eat the enemy, and you can actually hold them in, and you can spit them out whenever, well, not whenever you want. You only have them in your belly for a minimum time. So what you can do within this time is at least you're doing damage at the same time, as long as you got them with you. And if you have your teammate with you, you can always position for a good attack, because you can position yourself to try spitting the enemy somewhere else or into your allies, so all your allies can kill the enemy. Also, Devour does work on your allies as well. You can save your allies if you use your W by eating them, basically. Let's say they're low or they're caught in a stun, you can eat them and you can get them out of a stun. You can save them out of some difficult situations. Also, you can spit people over walls as well. If you're really close to a wall, you can spit people over walls. Now this is going to be one of the main abilities you're going to be going over when you're playing TAHM KENCH, because his W ability is really good for saving allies and for destroying the enemy's health, because it does a lot of damage in the beginning, and it does it also in the late game as long as you're tanky as hell. Now we're going to move over to TAHM KENCH's E ability, which is Thick Skin. TAHM KENCH turns incoming damage into gray health. As gray health decays, TAHM KENCH is healed for a percentage of gray health amount. When activated, this ability turns all gray health into a shield. Now basically what this ability is, it gives you gray health. It's like saying you're turning pain into a shield, or you're turning it to heal yourself again. But when you're taking damage, you have gray health, and only 45% of that gray health you have will be regenerated as long as you're staying out of combat, like using Warmog's armor armor. If you're out of combat and if you're regenerating on your gray health, you'll only receive 45% of what you have. So it's almost half your gray health that you already have. But the gray health can also be converted into a shield, which can be used in tough situations, more like when you're trying to get really low, but then, well, you're not trying to get really low, but when you're getting really low, you're in a sticky situation and you got to get out of there. So maybe you can activate your shield when you're at the lowest health possible, but what that's going to do is destroy your gray health. So once you use your shield, all your gray health will be terminated, meaning you won't get that back unless you regenerate like normal. So thick skin does have advantages and disadvantages. As long as you play it well, you guys can pull it off pretty good. Now the last ability on Tahm Kench, which is R, is Abyssal Voyage. This ability does increase as long as you're upgrading it. It will increase from 4,500 range, and it will also will go up to 6,500. Now Tahm Kench teleports across the map, and he may bring one allied champion with him. Now this ability is essential for defending and most likely escaping most of the places that you want to escape from, because most likely you might get collapsed on. Like, enemies will be coming in from a bunch of lanes, or let's say you're in the corner of the map and you got someone from river and top lane coming, and then you're in a sticky situation, or maybe bot lane, because you're most likely gonna be support. You can get your ally out of there, but the only bad thing is this does channel for 6 seconds. That means it can also be stopped by any stuns or anything. I'm pretty sure slows might disable it, but definitely stuns do disable the channeling, and you guys can get stuck and you'll probably die. But the really good thing is you can either go yourself, you can go really far in the map, almost globally, as long as you're upgrading it to the max, and you can also take an ally with you, which is very essential. So everything that's in Tahm Kench's kit makes him very tanky, especially his E ability is what gives him the gray health, and combining that with something like Warmog's armor can make it really buff, because you can also regenerate on your gray health along with the Warmog's health, and that can be really useful for when you're regenerating, because Tahm Kench doesn't have to engage in all of the fights, but he's most likely there to save people, and he's most likely there to be very, very tanky, because the gray health is what makes him super tanky. Also, with the W ability, what you can do is you can eat an ally and you can flash away just to be safe, because you can only use your flash only when you're eating an ally, not an enemy. So now we're gonna move over to the builds. Now this one, I'm not gonna give you a building order, but I'm gonna give you a bunch of building items that you guys might want to need, but you can only pick 6 from these. Now here are the 6 items. These are the main Tahm Kench tanky items that you will need. Now before I do explain some of these, if you're gonna play in support, you will probably need some support items, maybe Face of the Mountain or Redemption or something. That's all optional to you, but these are one of the main things that you guys will definitely need. Deadman's Plate obviously makes you tanky and also gives you some of that speed. Also Spirit Visage, of course, it gives you magic resistance, and also it gives you 20% cooldown reduction. Randuin's Omen makes the enemies very slow, and as Tahm Kench, you either want to make your enemies very, very slow. Sunfire Cape definitely doing damage around you. Titanic Hydra, you might want to need that if you're really going for a damaging Tahm Kench kind of build. Guardian Angel is something that you guys really probably want if you want to annoy your enemy, and also it will give you a second chance to also be very tanky again, because once you come back to life, you're still very, very tanky, and you can be a huge distraction, or you can be beneficial in team fights. Trinity Force is kind of optional, but you know, it's kind of up to you guys. I mean, it could be a really good item, but it's kind of debatable as well. Thornmail will go completely great on Tahm Kench, because you really want that health, and you also want, well, you don't get health from Thornmail, but you really want that armor, and you want a mixture of health and armor, and that's why we bring in Warmog's armor, because Warmog's is the best item you could probably build on Tahm Kench, because it could combine with your regeneration of your gray health, which also buffs up your regen and also keeps you alive, because you won't be engaging in every single fight, but you will need to keep your health as full as you can for future team fights. And then Righteous Glory, of course, if you guys want speed, go for it. Go right for it. If you guys want the speed on Tahm Kench, because sometimes you will need it for engaging fights or getting out of fights that you fail, because most of the times Tahm Kench is one of the best at escaping fights, but it all requires on having flash and your W and maybe your ultimate if people can't interrupt your channeling. As long as you're out of their range, then they can't do it. So you guys can pretty much vary between what you build on here. It's mainly the support items you want to build, but if you're gonna play him in the jungle, you'll definitely need Titanic Hydra, and that's what helps him farm, because he's not the best farmer, but his W ability will help him farm. Now we're gonna look over the runes and masteries for Tahm Kench, and the runes that you guys probably want to go for is the 3 quintessences of health. Make sure they're greater, guys, because yeah, don't go for some 1 IP stuff. 9 glyphs of cooldown reduction, 9 seals of health, and 9 marks of ability power. And then for the masteries, you guys can obviously see the page yourself. You guys want to definitely go for Thunderlord's Decree, because Thunderlords on Tahm Kench, as long as you're combining it with your Q and your W, you will do a lot of damage, and it helps in most situations, and it makes sense that you're picking Thunderlords for Tahm Kench. Now, briefly, we're just gonna talk about Tahm Kench himself before we conclude all this video. So basically, if you're going to play Tahm Kench, your best idea is to build as tanky as you can, because most people are likely to try targeting you maybe in the early game because they know how tanky you can be, and Tahm Kench can actually regen a lot of health along in the late game, because like I said, if you combine Warmog's armor with Tahm Kench, it's gonna give him a lot of health along with the health regeneration with his gray health, which helps him a lot. Titanic Hydra, of course, will help him for farming jungle camps and stuff, you know, or in general for damaging the enemies. But what makes Tahm Kench so great is that he's one of the best at saving allies. What you can do is use his W ability to save people, and you can most likely dodge ultis or something, or let's say for example you got a Jinx ulti coming after you, and that's a AoE kind of ultimate because it does damage around you, and of course if you don't want it to damage your ADC or the person you're trying to protect, then go ahead and try eating them because it's really going to save them. And also this protects from a lot of other things like a lot of stuns and stuff. Stuns definitely, let's say for example your ADC got trapped in a Veigar stun or maybe got stuck in a Morgana stun, then you can eat them out of there and save them, and basically your enemy can't do anything about it. Let's say for example Lee Sin landed a Q on your ally and you were in a stuck your teammate was in a stuck situation. I think the best thing you can do is eat them as soon as Lee Sin activates his Q. I mean, the best thing out of that is you're bringing Lee Sin closer along with saving your ally, and this can help bring the enemy closer. It just depends all on what kind of situation you are. And then like we said about his E ability, it does shield the gray health he has, which is all the pain that he can convert into shield. This can come in handy in many times. Like most of the times you get turret dived and you got your gray health, that's your only hope. Most of the times this can be useful, or if you just really want to regenerate that rest of the health, then you can go ahead, sit back and go regen that health just like you normally do with Warmog's armor. And the ultimate ability can be really good for moving back onto lane or moving somewhere else to try ganking really quick, because a really good thing about Tahm Kench is, especially when you're playing him in the jungle, you can use your ultimate to gank lanes, but also you can help your allies travel somewhere to help you defend, to do a lot of ganks, to do other things, and that's what's really good about Tahm Kench, especially when he's tanky. Just to finish off, I think the best thing to do is build as tanky as you can on Tahm Kench, unless you want to go a bit AP thirsty for the redemption, because redemption can also help you, of course, with the circular kind of heal slash damage, but it will also give you some AP that you can use for your W and your Q, because his W, I'm pretty sure it does scale off ability power. Well, basically a couple of his abilities just scale off ability power, so that's pretty much what makes him pretty strong in general, especially for the early game, like I said. But if you're going for a stun, make sure you Q them on the third stack of the auto attack, which will help you hold your enemy in place, and you can definitely eat them, and then you can most likely finish them off. And that was pretty much it. So anyways, guys, if you guys enjoyed this video, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. If you guys want to see more guides, more videos, and more stuff like this, then go ahead and leave it in the comment section below. Also, if I have missed anything, make sure you guys mention it in the comment section below also, so I can go reply to that and make sure that I can improve on my guides and stuff. Make sure I include important details. So yeah, so anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Thank you guys so much for subscribing, and we've pretty much hit 50 subscribers, guys. I said like we're gonna make it to 130 days, and it's been like a few days now, and we're almost there. It looks like we're almost there, guys. We're halfway there, and we'll get there soon, and that's pretty much it. And yeah, so anyways, guys, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you guys in my next video. Peace, guys, and see ya.